so happy to be with you. You know, I've gone over your work a bit, and I find that, we're pretty much exactly on the same pathway. I just have maybe a slight difference in subconscious, but otherwise everything else fits exactly with the story I've been talking about for maybe 20 years now. So I'm happy to connect because we're on the exact same pathway, and the information that you and I have to share with the public at this time, perhaps the most important information in the world. So I'm honored to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for work that I think that you are a pioneer. Since the 80s, you started with your work about on the epigenetics, and I think that you are a leader in this concept that today is well accepted. But I believe that when you started to do with this, it's just like something that came from outside of this world. And I think that the same thing with me. When I started with the research about the connection between body, psyche, and soul, they looked at me in very different manner, in a strange manner. What you are talking about? There's no such a thing as a soul. This is an idea for primitive people, not for a scientist, not for a medical doctor.
Well, I have to say that the same thing, especially because I wasn't spiritual, didn't believe in that. I was teaching cells and biology and proteins and genes. And when I understood what the cells were teaching me, the cells taught me, I saw, oh my goodness, I'm not in here. I am a broadcast. I'm a field. I am a spirit that is playing through here. And my life changed upside down from before spirituality till after spirituality. And it was like, oh my goodness. And I have to admit the truth. Ever since I brought the spirituality into my life, I have been living heaven on earth ever since then.
Wow.
And so I am like the happiest research guy, because it was like, oh my goodness, we are very powerful creators. And that's where your work your work and my work come together. Sure. In understanding we are not accidents, we are creators here.
Absolutely. I think that we should speak about this loudly today without fear, and to speak about the role of the psyche in medicine and the role of spirituality in psychology. Because what is missing in medicine today is psychology. There's a complete separation between the psyche and the physical body, and there's a complete separation between spirituality and psychology. In psychology, there's no spirituality.
No, and the same as your issue. When I started to talk about this to my colleagues, they said I was like crazy, and I was like you, years ahead of the regular science with what we know today.
And I think that today the scientists, they are more open because the vibration changed and the consciousness, there's a changing in the consciousness of the scientist in a specific way, as it is changes in the consciousness of the whole, whole population think differently today, and they believe in God. Even scientists, they believe in God. And that is very strange to speak about God, by a scientist. But God is,
let me see if I can share a screen just for a second. See if I can share the screen. I don't know if it'll work. Let's see. No, it says you're the one that can let me share a screen from your end. No, I can't do it unless I get permission from you. Maybe our end.
Yes, absolutely. I will give you the possibility. You are now co-host and you can share your screen.
Okay, so what I want to share is this picture. And this picture is Max Planck, the father of quantum physics. And in 1927, he said, the mind is the creator of all matter. That was day one quantum physics. Now, for years, nobody paid any attention, but recently, and I love this as an article in the journal Nature, which is the most scientific journal on this planet, Nature, and it was by a physicist, Richard Conn Henry. I just need to show the last sentence, just the last sentence. And the last sentence is, the universe is immaterial, it's mental and spiritual, live and enjoy. When I saw that, I said, oh my goodness, science has now completely transformed itself because that science is acknowledging spirit. Science ever acknowledge that. And so your work and science is catching up. So good for you.
I said, thanks God that I have this opportunity and the possibility to think about it, because since the beginning, when I start to study medicine and ask the simple question, it's interesting where the soul of this gentleman went, because, you know, we were working on anatomy lesson and we have the cadaver and there's no life. And my friend said, what you are speaking about? There's no such a thing as a soul. There's a biochemical process. Do you have electromagnetic activity? When it is disturbed, this is the disease. And when it's stopped, this is the death. And I said, wow, all the billiard of people in the world that believe in spirits, all they are wrong, or there's something else. And I ask myself, what we know about soul, what we know about the spirituality in medicine or in science, what are the proof there's no such a thing as a spirit? And what I found out that there's no studies, there's no research about this. So how can I believe in the essence of something that I never discuss it, I never research on it, I never look for it. And from that point, I started to look for the soul and the spirit. And it is a very long journey, but very interesting because it led me to the this point to develop another medicine that take in consideration the soul and the psyche, and medicine that can prevent the disease by emphasizing the psychological conflict as the principal thing, the psychological conflict that disturbs the energy flow in our physical body. And I could connect with the ancient cultures such as Chinese and Indians with the meridians and chakras, and look for the psychological aspect of these energies. And with the development of the seventh sense, if you hear about it, this is to use the blinking technique. This blinking technique actually is a technique that you have entrance to the quantum field, to the quantum information. We have quantum information ourselves. We can use it as antenna to receive information from the quantum field. And since then that I use the blinking technique, you just ask and you have the answer. And the answer in this case give you yes or no. If yes is blink. If the answer is no, it doesn't blink. So in this way, you have access for the source of the information that it's not related to space and time. This is completely, you can, now you are in New Zealand,
Yes.
So I can, from here, I can feel you. I can just check your energetic situation and I can feel you. You know, we are very distant, but this distance is not a limit and there is no boundary because space and time in quantum reality does not exist. You are connected with everybody, everywhere, all the time.
Absolutely perfect. For me, understanding that, for 20 years with you, understanding same thing. The public it's important for the public to learn this now because we're facing a crisis on the planet. And it's not going to be resolved with pharmaceutical drugs. It's going to be resolved with a change in consciousness. If I could show just 2 or 3 slides, then we could. I want so from how I got in there, how I got into spirituality. Let me see the first one. Let me just see. Let me turn back to share screen. Okay, and this is the first slide. And this slide is the definition of field in physics, which controls the universe in physics. Field is invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. And I go, oh, definition, spirit, invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. And I said, oh my goodness, the word spirit and the word field, they have the same definition. Okay, yes. But then here was my connection that I knew the spirit and field would be the same. And I said, what is the difference between 2 people? And I know there's a difference from biology because I cannot take your cells out of your body and put them into my body, because my body will say not self. I go, oh, there's a self. Somewhere the cells can see there's a self that makes us different from each other. So I said, where is that self? Well, it turns out I have 2 liver cells here in my picture, and I say one is Bruce's liver cell, one is Margaret's liver cell. I say, if I put my Bruce's cells into Margaret's body, her immune system says not self. I put Margaret's cells in my body, my immune system says not self. So I said, where is the self? So I picked 2 cells, the same, liver, bone, muscle. I just need 2 identical cells because the cells are doing the same thing. Yeah. I say, if I remove the cytoplasm from everything that's the same, will be left over. Where's the difference? And I know the nuclei are different, but I can take the nuclei out and the cells still live, no problem. So I say, where is the difference? So when I take the cytoplasm, I say the difference between 2 people, identity, is on the surface.
Yeah, the connection was interrupted. We'll have it soon again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry for the distance.
Yes, you are back. You see, the technology is limited.
Okay, so let me just finish the slide and then we'll connect back with the discussion. Okay. So what I want to say is the difference between two people is on the surface of the cell, there are proteins like antennas, like television antennas. No two people have the same set. They're called self receptors. No two people have the same set. And I go, so what is the meaning? I say, the proteins receive a signal, and the proteins are on the surface. So the signal they're receiving is from outside coming in. And I go, here's an interesting experiment. This is Brian O'Leary, astronaut and a scientist, and he was working with a friend of mine, and they put his cells into a test tube, and they moved that test tube 350 miles away, and it's his cells, and then they connected electrical readout to the cells, and they have a television with a split screen. On one side is Dr. O'Leary, the other side is the electrical activity, 350 miles away. And when Brian O'Leary had emotional response, instantly the cells 350 miles away responded with electrical activity.
Wow.
The point is, what is connecting his cells to his body? And I say they both have the same antennas, self-receptors. And that what I started to recognize is the antennas are like a television show on a cell. And I say the picture comes, it's not from the antenna, it's a picture picked up from, the signal is picked up by the antenna,
Yes.
and then plays on the TV. And I go, a cell has antennas, but they're called self-receptors. They pick up signal from the environment, okay? And then I go, oh, then the signal from the environment is either called a spirit or a field, same word, you can use either one. And then I say, what's important about this is to separate the spirit from the program, okay? And just one slide more and then I finish, okay?
Time, you have all the time.
Here are three cells. I say, what's different? I say, one's Muslim cell, one's Jewish cell, one's Christian cell. I say, what? Oh, they're different. I go, where's the difference? I go, the difference is program from the baby. But I say, what's most important? I say, they all came from the same place. All of us are spirits, and our program can make us different, but we all are from the same spiritual source. And the thing that got me, the first thing was, if the cell dies, the spirit is still there, and that you can't die. And that was what, Dr. Budo, that's what changed my life, because I said, I can't die. I'm not in here. I am playing through here. And then in conclusion, I said to myself, science, I said, why have a spirit and a body? Why not just be a spirit? And the cells in my body came up with the answer. And here's the answer. The cells told me, the answer is, Bruce, if you're just a spirit, what does chocolate taste like? And I said, oh, this biology gives us vision and sound and smell and taste and touch and love and pain. I say, the body is like a virtual reality suit. We come into the body and we become creators, and we have experiences. So that's what I wanted to share with you, because to me, this is, my world changed. I couldn't die, but I came here to create. And when I understood I was creating, I looked at the world and I say, I'm not doing a good job. I'm not creating a great life. And then I realized, as you did, the same as you did, I realized the consciousness and the spirit are the guide. And I was following the program, but I wasn't following the guide, my spirit. And once I started to change that, then I realized, in conclusion, if there is a heaven, I think it's right here because this is where I came to create and have experiences. And when I heard your story, I sat there and smiled inside. I said, it's exactly the same story. And so I was honored to meet you, Nader, because I said, we are on the very same page of the science and the spirit. Thank you for letting me say those things.
Thank you very much. No, it's very interesting. And I tried actually to look for a scientific proof. How can I present the concept of soul and spirit in a scientific way? And I found out that David Bohm was dealing with this concept, saying that we have two different realities. We have two different orders. The first one is the explicit order, the one that we see in our eyes, the one that we can feel with our senses. But the other one, which is most important, is the implicate order. There is what is Einstein called it the hidden variables. We have hidden variables that has all the intelligence that guides and control the physical one. So if you have an electron, behind the electron, you have quantum state. And the quantum state is a state of information that informs the electron how to move, how to behave, and all the attributes of the electron are related to this information present, not in the electron as a physical particle, but the electron as energetic and information. And here is how I define soul and spirit, and the difference between soul and spirit. Spirit is a state of information, is quantum state, okay? That means that information that has no physical body. And I agree with you that we are quantum state, we are immortal. We will remain after death of this body, which is a tool that we are using in order to evolve, in order to grow with this physical body. And when this spirit, which is quantum state, joined to the physical body, it will be called soul. So the difference between soul and spirit, that the spirit is without physical body, and the soul is inside the physical body that informs the physical body how to behave. And all the attributes that we have outside from the physical body, they are present inside our soul. And all the information that are present in the soul that are not consciously aware about, we call this subconscious. So the subconscious is the information that's present in the soul that are not interacting with the brain.
Yes, go ahead.
So this is like a cellular phone. You know, you show the TV, and I show the cellular phone, and this, we have the antenna inside, okay? And it captures the information as a vibration, and the cellular phone that processes the information and let it go out as a consciousness. And this is the same way that our brain functioning. Our brain is capturing this information and elaborate it. And the one that captured from the soul that has different parts. I divide the soul into three parts. The first one, I call it animal soul, which is the magnetic field that gives life and vitality to the physical body. And it's present in all the animals and all the plants as well, in all the physical life, everything that is alive. The second part of the soul, I call it human souls, which is typically present only in humans. And this is the one that gives us the awareness and the consciousness and gives us the possibility to think about our thoughts. The animal has not this capability to think about its thoughts. We can think about our thoughts, and this human soul, this is the divine spark that we have inside ourselves that distinguishes us from other animals, and this spark which incarnate and will remain after death. The animal soul will die because dependent totally on the physical body. This is a magnetic field, actually. The animal soul is energy. The human soul, the second part, is quantum state that it joined the magnetic field of the animal soul. Without the magnetic field, the human soul cannot join this physical body. The physical body needs to be alive in order to have this part. And the third part, I call it guiding spirit. The guiding spirit is the origin and the source of our intuition, our sixth sense, our innovation and creativity. Our fantasies came from this guiding spirit. So the real essence of the human, it's in his human soul. The one that we are speaking right now, they are the human soul. Our animal soul you say, well, I have another things to do. Let it be short and we'll go. I say, well, here it's so late in the night, let's go and have some sleep. But the human soul said, no, here we have a very precious opportunity to speak to people and to tell them about the reality that is made of information, energy, and matter. And we have to consider these three parts when we deal with health and with disease. So this is the basic. Without this, we cannot deal, we cannot understand even what is the reason, what the causes of the diseases. You can imagine till now, with all the progress that we have technologically and other progress, we don't know till more than 90% of the diseases, we don't know the real cause of the disease. And this is the reason why there is incremental, all the time, the chronic disease is increasing all the time. Half of the population will have, in 2 years or 3 years, half of the population, they will have at least one chronic disease. And this is because we create the chronic disease because we didn't know how to deal with the acute disease.
I agree 100%. I would like to say just a slight different perception from the way I see it, but the same story. And that story is, you hold up your phone and I say, you can talk to the phone and talk and get, interact with the phone. But the phone has its own memory too, because it has the programs, it knows how to dial, it does all that. You don't do that. You just say, I want to talk, okay? The brain, the way I see it, and it's the marvelous computer. The brain is marvelous computer. I say, it's just like regular computer, silicon-based computer. I say, when you buy a new computer, excuse me, when you buy a new computer, you cannot use that computer until you first put a program in the computer.
Mm-hmm.
agree with you then. When you put a program in the computer, that's like the animal soul you were talking about, okay?
Yes.
It can run by itself. It doesn't need you, okay? It knows how to do things. You don't have to say, like, I want to walk. You don't have to say, okay, leg move, leg move. You don't have to say anything. The program knows how to make the leg move. You just have to say move and you can go. The point is then the soul, the human soul,
Yes.
can let the animal soul run the show. It's got a program. It knows how to run the program. It knows how to drive a car. You don't have to think about it. And I say, then there's a point, there's separation. The animal soul can run by itself. Once you have a program, I don't need to tell it how to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And the human soul can step in and say, wait, I want to drive the car. I don't want it to be automatic. And so it turns out 95% of the day, the human soul is thinking. Thinking. I go, so what does that mean? I say, well, thinking is not looking out. Thinking is looking in. So I say, what does that mean? I say, well, when I'm thinking, I'm not paying attention to what is going on. When I'm thinking, the animal soul is running the show. Mm-hmm. And I go, how much of that? I say, science says 95% of the day, my life is run by the animal soul because my human soul is thinking. I say, well, okay. Then I say, but if my program that I got in the very beginning is not a good program and it's running 95% of the day, then I could destroy myself while I'm thinking. I'm not even paying attention. And so that's the only slight difference I have is that I recognize that the animal soul, which is program, is running 95%, but the program came from watching other people. When the first 7 years, you watch your mother, your father, you watch your family, you watch your culture, and you download program. Mm-hmm. So I say, okay, wait, am I living, this is where my life changed when I saw it. I said, am I living the program or am I living the wishes of my human soul? I go, 95% of the day, I'm thinking, so the program's running by itself. I'm not there. Mm-hmm. And if my program isn't good, I could sabotage my own life with bad program. So, for example, they looked at children adopted into a family where there's cancer running in the family. And we've been saying all the time, cancer is a gene, cancer is a gene. I go, no. The adopted child, when put into a family where there's cancer in it, the adopted child will get the same family cancer as a natural kid, except the adopted child has totally different genetics. The point, the cancer didn't come from the gene. The cancer came from a program that was not in harmony with life. And so this is where I see where we connect is the same thing that says, well, do I want to run the program or do I, my human soul, want to take the steering wheel and drive? Because when my human soul takes over, then I become the creator. If my human soul is thinking, then the program is creator. And the program, 60% sabotage, limiting belief. Excuse me. So are we running the program, which most people do? 95%, their human soul is thinking, and it's not paying attention to what's going on. So we express the program of the animal soul, while the human soul is busy thinking and not paying attention. And this is where then I say, yeah, your work and my work, now we say the same thing. If I bring the human soul back in to pay attention, put your hands on the wheel, drive with your soul, your human soul, you can create. If you let go of the wheel because you're thinking, then the program creates. And I think this is the issue, is separating, which you did. Separate the animal soul separate from the human soul and recognize that the animal soul was programmed. That's how we got here. That's what we do. We learned it and we do it. And most of the programming is not very good. And that's why we have a big health issue because people are running from programs that are sabotaging them. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting because, you know, I started to think about the soul, the animal soul. What I found out, the Chinese medicine treated a part of this animal soul, which is the magnetic lines of the magnetic field, which are called meridians. And the Indian culture, they deal with the part of the magnetic field that enter inside the endocrine glands, and they call it chakras. Now, our body is divided, you can divide the three parts actually in the animal soul. You have the vegetative soul, which is made of two magnetic poles and magnetic field. You have a sensitive soul, which is made of 7 chakras, and each chakra related to one aspect of our life. And you have 12 meridians. Each one is connected with one organs in our body. And this part is called the intellectual soul. So the animal soul divided in 3 parts, and each part of these 3 parts has its very specific function. But with this model, you are integrating different cultures together under the same umbrella, and all of them, they are animal soul. The human soul, which is information, by the way, we divide the universe in the same way, because, you know, 73% of our universe is made of dark energy, and 23% of our universe is made of dark matter, and only 4% of our universe is matter as we know it. So we lived in the illusion that we know everything about this universe when we know only 4% of the reality, because most of the reality is not known even today by science. And the same way we say that our physical body is only 4% of our reality. The 23% of our reality is in the psyche, and 73% of our reality is in the soul, because not all the information in the soul interact with the brain to produce the psyche. So by this way, we understand better that when I ask somebody, who are you? They start to think about it. Who am I? He told me about his name or his profession, or no, I said, well, this is your name. This is your name. Who are you that has this name? Who are you that has this profession? And 99% of the people, they don't know who they are. So when we define that the real essence of the human being is in the soul, I am the human soul that came to this life in order to make a workshop, in order to learn new things, in order to grow and to evolve. And once I'm doing this, I feel happiness, because I understood that I came here in order to love and to give and to serve. If I do this, I'm happy and I'm free. If I am egoistic and I'm thinking about myself, what I can get for myself, I will create the sense of lack of things that I wanted for me, for myself. So when I have this kind of information of lack, I will attract to myself lack of things. So this is the way that the first thing you ask, who you are, who are you? And the second thing you ask, what why you came to this life. Why you came? Why did you come to this life? What is your purpose? What is your destiny? What is your path? And once we determine and define the path, you can identify every way, every time that you are going out from your path, you are aware about this and you can come back to your path. But if you don't define your path, you go all the time, you are lost, and you are suffering and you don't know why. Once we know this, become the central part of the therapy. The central part of the therapy is to define who are you and to understand where you were deviated from your path. And this deviation disturbed you, caused you a conflict or trauma. And this trauma blocked the energy chakras or energy meridians. And in the long time, this disturbances in the energetic flow will become a disease because the system is converted to be a closed system. And in closed system, you have entropy. Because open system, there's no entropy. There's no degeneration of the matter.
This, to me, again, is the same from my biological point of view. Exactly what you are teaching is where I have been. And when I started to recognize, why am I here? That was the first question, because when I had to recognize I'm not here. First, I had to recognize I am the field of the energy. Yeah. Then I said, so why am I here? And then I said, oh, to experience life. And I go, yeah, but I'm a creator. So what would I like to create? And I go, well, the idea like heaven on earth, I'd like to create that life. But because of my animal soul and the programming, that takes me away from that harmony.
That's right.
And very important, because when we talk about the energy, which you did, and I said, well, we're picking up our spirit through the antennas on the surface of the cell, but it plays through the system. And I go, yeah. And I go, but I can read the activity. I put wires on the head, electroencephalograph. I read the brain activity on the inside. But as you said, the newer understanding is called magnetoencephalograph, not the electric field, magnetic field. And that reads brain function. I go, yeah, but I say the probe doesn't touch your head. So I say, you're like a tuning fork. Your thoughts are vibration going out. The issue is vibration, and what we appear to see is physical, or physical is energy too. So when a thought is resonant, meaning the thought has the same vibration as the physical, they activate each other. Excuse me. So if my thoughts are distorted because of animal soul, when I broadcast these thoughts, I'm not activating what I want. I'm activating what the program wants. And I started to realize that because the magnetic field, as you said, is shaping our experiences in this world at this point. And that's what you can read with magnetoencephalograph. You're reading these fields, which are your thoughts. And then I started to realize when the field is mainly run by the animal soul, I'm not controlling that. That was the automatic program. That's a program. That's not me. That's program. And I realized I could observe me doing the program, but there's a point, like you recognize, there's a point I said, wait a minute, I'm the controller. I don't want that program. I want to use my human soul to run the show. And as you said, same thing. Once you start coming from the human soul, you override the animal soul. And that's when you become the creator. And because of our creation, not only is information coming in, but as the magnetoencephalograph shows, the information going out And I say, it affects the world we're living in. Okay, that's the experience you have now. But it also goes back to the original spirit. And this is the karma part where my life experience has distorted my spiritual broadcast. And I say, well, how do I get back? And I say, it's very simple. You just have to know who you are. And this is what you said, and it's true. Most people have no idea who they are. They think they're this physical body. And I said, that's what I used to think when I was conventional science. But once I understood the physics and the role of energy and consciousness and spirit, the game changed for me. I said, wait a minute, I don't want to be animal soul. I want to be Bruce's soul. I want Bruce's to create this, not the program from mother and father and culture. I don't want that one. I want one. And like you, I started to recognize, well, wait, I can change. I want to take the control now. I want to put my hands back on the steering wheel. I want to drive this. I don't want the program to drive this. You know, the cell phone that you have in your hand, yeah, you can drive it by talking into it, but it also can work by itself because it's got program. And I think that you and I have this information that we've been trying to present to the world to say, take back the control because you're more than this body. You are the creator of this body. And I think that perfectly ties in spiritual practices from thousands of years ago, same spiritual practice today, understanding. They understood the energy before we understood the energy. And it took us all the way to quantum physics before we woke up and said, wait, this is all energy. And so after waking up, as you've said and as you've done, go back to the ancient story because they already knew this before we had done. And that's why understanding the spiritual history, the stories from the ancient civilizations, the Chinese, the Hindus, the Middle East with both of its combinations. And it's important that you and me, we continue to broadcast the story, the new one, because the world will not change until people know who they are.
Exactly.
Because they don't know who they are, and they struggle because their program makes them struggle, but their human mind is in the background, human soul going, what's going on? What's going on? I go, they didn't recognize what you said. That if I take that human soul and put it in the front, not put it in the back, put the human soul in the front, then the physics, the quantum physics, the field, the spirit, the energy can be harmonized to create the healthy, happy life. And you and I both agree that when we're out of that harmony, disharmony is a source of dis-ease.
Yes.
That we lost the harmony in this world. And you and I are fortunate enough to have discovered our own pathway back to that harmony. And our lives are not the same as they were before. And it's not the same as most other people around us. Absolutely. Because they still haven't owned that they're a spiritual, immortal vibration and energy that has power to take control of this rather than be victim of the program.
And here is the point. We can redefine the basic concepts in medicine in order to integrate this information, energy, vibration, resonance, dissonance, in the process of diagnostic and therapy. And what I did, I came back to the definition of health according to the World Health Organization, which states that health is a complete well-being, complete physical, psychological, social well-being. And I added on this spiritual well-being, and not the merely absence of disease. Now,
Yes.
the second thing, and you mentioned this very beautifully, that you have this harmony, which is actually is the resonance between two systems, the one which is in the soul and the other is the physical body. When they are in the same phase of vibration, we call this resonance. And resonance, you have constructive wave interference. That means one wave will increase the strength of the other wave. Now, we can define health according to the concept of soul and physical body. And I said that health is a state of resonance between the psychospiritual state and the physical body, in which the defense system, it's not the immune system, the defense system, which is the vitality of the physical body, is able to cope completely with external and internal stimuli in order to maintain the homeostasis.
Yes.
And I defined homeostasis as a state of dynamic equilibrium in which the system functions in full efficiency with the minimal expenditure of energy. So we have this integration of concepts of energy, vibration, resonance, harmony, and coherence. All these concepts are very important in order to understand health and disease. What is disease? Disease is a state of dissonance between the soul, the energy of the soul, and the physical body, in which the defense system is not able to cope efficiently with external or internal stimuli in order to maintain the state of homeostasis. So our role here is to create the resonance again and to resolve the cause that caused the dissonance. And the causes always will find it in the psyche. Psychological conflicts and crisis and trauma, they create this state of dissonance in the system. If it's not resolved, the energy dissonance will manifest as a disease. So we have to come back to find out where is the psychological conflict and to complete the learning process, because behind the psychological conflict, always will find that we have a learning process potential that was stopped in the time of the crisis. So if we go back to this point and we resolve the conflict and we complete the learning process, then the state of well-being will be reestablished.
And that's the simplest insight.
Yes.
Rather than going through all the complications of the hormones, the cells, the molecules, and the genes, and all that, it's like, no, the simplest insight was the creation of that soul that we are living with. And just to, what I also talk to my audience, same kind of story. I say, energy is life. You have energy, you have life. And you brought up a very important term, actually, two terms, constructive interference and destructive interference. And I said, what does that mean? I said, well, energies come together. Energies in harmony have more energy. When energies come together and they're in disharmony, they cancel each other out.
Exactly.
Life, therefore, is trying to manifest harmony with the world, with your consciousness, to be in the same vibration with the life that you want to have. So destructive interference means you are broadcasting a vibration that cancels vitality, cancels your life, and you can die. You have no energy, you're going to die. And you can cancel, even with your mind. They call the negative thinking nocebo. They can say, Just I have a negative energy, I can cancel my life. I can die just because I'm thinking I could die. And why this is so important is when people look at their life and it's not working right, they blame all of those other things. That person did this, that did that, and they don't have any personal responsibility of creator. They're saying, I'm just victim. I say, you're not victim, you're creating. I say, your thoughts are resonating, that was the important word, with what's going on in the world. A negative thought only resonates with negative experience. Positive thoughts resonate with positive experience. Placebo, which is healing. When somebody says the pill, I took the pill and I got better, and the pill was sugar pill. The pill didn't heal you. It was the belief in the pill that healed you, because you broadcast a different vibration. Oh, this is now healthy, and a new vibration comes out. So I try to get people to understand, when life isn't working right, stop blaming the outside and start looking inside and saying, am I broadcasting a magnetic field that will enhance my life, or am I broadcasting a field that is canceling my life? And that is a constructive, destructive interference. And I said, and this is the point that you make, this is the point that I make, is the same one. It says, stop blaming outside and start recognizing this is the source of your creation. And if the creation isn't going good, you don't fix the outside, you fix the inside. Yes. And the consciousness, and you treat that. I don't treat the body. That's the result of the outside. That's the thinking outside. And if I want to change the body, I don't need to put the chemicals and the drugs and the surgery. I can change it with the creator. And that's the human soul, which is driven by the human spirit. And I realized that we come here, like you said, to evolve that spirit. Yes. Because our previous life experiences, when we were here, we may have distorted. Because remember, we send back the energy too, that we distorted our own spirit. That's the karma. And we come back here now. Let's bring it back so we can correct that vibration. So it's a beautiful vibration. And this is our opportunity in a life experience to say, I'm coming back in and I'm going to reprogram the mess that I made in the previous life so I can come back and make the harmony. And when we do, as we have found out, then we don't struggle with life. Life comes to us when we are sending out the right broadcast. We send out the wrong broadcast, we cancel the things we're looking for. So I love it, because we are both from two different perspectives, say exactly the same story. And until the other ones out there that don't know this is what I try to teach. I say, until the world knows we're spiritual people, that we have a problem, because they're not connecting to their source. They're just connecting to their program at this point. And this is, both of our message is the same message. We want to create your life, then start recognizing you are the creator. You are not the victim of this life.
The problem, that we want to have this, we want to believe this. The problem is my psyche is dependent on the information of my soul and not the opposite. I can convince myself that everything is good. However, it's still not functioning. Something is missing. And here we can act directly on the soul in order to change the information in the soul. As a consequence of this, my thoughts will be changed. So I invented a kind of therapy, which I called it energetic washout. And energetic washout, you just give energy from the head of the person, start to tremble, and start to remember conflicts from the past with all the emotions that he had during the conflict. And it's not dependent when it happened. It could be 1 month ago, or could be when he was 3 years old, or even traumas from the past life. They started to live it again, even though that the person does not believe in past life, and live it and see himself how he died in last life and what happened after death, how he went to the light, and how he met with the commission that gives him a kind of a program for this life. So once it's done and came back, the information inside the soul change, the thoughts will be changed. Because otherwise I'm influenced all the time. I want to free my head from all these thoughts, but I cannot do it. I try to convince myself, but I cannot do it. Something inside myself that pushing me to think in this way. And by changing the information from the soul, it will be easy. The person will feel at ease, free, and centered, and related and connected to his essence with the human soul, and he will feel that he is ready to go back to the life and to face the difficulties and the challenges in life in order to continue his process of evolving and growing.
This is why we're on the same page. And we're on the page, if I would simplify from my point of view, is simply this. Am I running my life, or is the program running my life? That's what I have to find out. If the program is running my life, then this is how the EWO, the energy washout, is say, let's clean your program. Let's clean that program up from here, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, the beautiful part about it is there are several different ways to get into that program. Yours is very effective because you have now the experience and the history of engaging this and observing the outcome and seeing how people have changed using EWO. That's that works, okay? But I also think there's some other ways as well, other ways of changing the program. But in fact, on my website, I say belief change program, and I say, but there are many different kinds of approaches, but all of them in the end do the same thing. No matter which way I'm coming in, they all do the same. They change the program into a program with more harmony, more spiritual control, more life. And this is the way out. It's not through drugs, it's not through surgery, it's not through any of the medical practice, because the medical practice has ignored this, even though, as I said, that's why I love showing the article from Nature. When Nature, the most prestigious scientific journal, mentions the fact that we are mental and spiritual entities, I go, we are on the doorway, on the step, going to the future at this point. And this is exactly the same physics that you are talking about, the same physics I am talking about, that we are the result of the consciousness. The consciousness is not the result of the body, but the body is the result of the consciousness that we put into it. And until the world knows this, then people are lost, because they're looking for answers in the wrong place. Mm-hmm. They keep saying, oh, if I just do this, I'm going to get better. If I do this, I'm going to get better. It doesn't work. The worst part is if I just could get this, what I want, I will be the happy person. Yeah. You know, if I just get some more money, yeah, I'm going to be happy. And I go, no, you're missing the whole point of this. You don't need material things to get that happiness. It's all mental and spiritual, just like the physicists are telling us. And yet the world out there is destroying the planet to try to get all those physical material things that they think will make the joy and happiness of their life, when it had nothing to do with the physical reality.
That's, I wanted to show you, to share with you.
Yes.
animation how the energetic washout is. We do this, you know.
Yes.
You can see here actually that the energy is coming from outside, from the upper and the lower side, and from the hands, this energy goes out, and you can see here the chakras of the therapist and the patient, they are aligned, and slowly you can see that the chakras start to be opened.
Yes.
Till the point that the person start to feel emotion, that it comes up and shivering. You can see, and to the end, you can see here how these energies open and to reestablish the equilibrium, the homeostasis. This is what I wanted to show you, to share with you. This is
I'm such agreement with you, because I used to teach in a medical school. I don't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. In fact, the teaching I do now is in what they call chiropractic. I go, what is chiropractic? I say from 1895, chiropractic was a spiritual healing practice. They didn't want to say spiritual healing, so they talked about mind as innate intelligence, or you know, they didn't want to say that. And when I teach the students, I say, when you're putting your hands on the patient and they want to do the right adjustment, I say, it's not the adjustment. Mm-hmm. I say, you're putting your hands on and you have an intention, and that intention is going through your hands, and that intention is going to help the person. But then I say, here's the problem with chiropractic. It doesn't change the original program. It just temporarily says, okay, I feel better. The patient gets off the adjustment table. They say, oh, I'm really feeling good. They go home 2 days later, they're back in the same place. Why? Because the chiropractic makes the immediate adjustment, but it's not a permanent change in the consciousness. And so the EWO puts a bigger story into it. It's not just the hands, but there's a story behind these hands that the patient can start to see the story and change. In chiropractic, they say, oh, it's just an adjustment. I just push on you. And I go, it's not the pushing, as you put the hands on them. That's what you did. That was energy healing, but that was chiropractic from day one. Energy, it was all spiritual energy from D.D. Palmer, the first guy. And I go, but it doesn't do what EWO does. It only helps them in the moment. It says, okay, let's put the energy back in. Oh, okay, I feel the energy is in harmony. They walk out. And then the thinking that had the problem, the psychology that had the problem is still there. And so it will all come back. So it's interesting because chiropractic is like phase one of EWO. Chiropractic, yes. Phase one. Let me put the energy and help you feel the balance and the harmony. And I agree with you 100%. Until we change that.
Yes, this
patient has a problem.
Leads us to the definition of health as a state of complete well-being. And I define well-being as a state of mind in which the person feels able to realize his aspiration in life with sense of love, happiness, and freedom. And this is what we want to achieve.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just got it. What you were just saying. Here's what it is. Chiropractic adjusts the animal soul.
That's right.
It does not adjust the human soul.
Exactly.
It works, but only temporary. Mm-hmm. Because until you change the human soul, the animal soul will just keep running and running, and that's where the problem comes from. So I really appreciate it, because I've been doing this since 1980 something, you know, and you've been doing this for this long time, and the rest of the world is finally catching up, and the world is changing in front of our face right now. And I feel very honored to be on the same platform with you, because both of us are really trying to awaken the world. Wake up. You are not the animal soul. And give them the power back. And knowledge is power. And you are offering knowledge. I am offering knowledge to take power back. And another part of that is, in the very beginning, I wanted to tell everybody when I understood the science, I said, oh, if you understand what I'm saying, you could create the most beautiful life. And then they looked at my life and they go, your life doesn't look so good for a person who says you know this. And then I realized the big problem. I can educate the mind, but it doesn't mean that that mind is now going to create the life. So I got very smart in my head, but my body was still doing animal.
This is the point, that we have to change the information in the soul, not only in our mind. The mind,
Yes.
It's a part, very small part of the soul. We need to change our vibration in our soul and to complete the learning process. Once I complete the learning process, I wouldn't need again the same problem. I wouldn't need again the same challenge. I passed the examination. So I will feel that I'm free and I'm ready to face again other challenges in life in order to grow and to evolve.
But once you know how to do the first challenge, you have the key to deal with the next challenge.
That's right.
If you learn how to do one, that was now I have the knowledge to do the rest. It's funny, the Christian or something, I don't know who, talks about the fishing rod. You can give the person the fish, or you can give them the fishing rod and teach them to get their own fish. Chiropractic, just in that story, is here's the fish. You feel better now.
Yes.
But EWO is, so here's the fishing rod. And if you learn how to use this, then you don't have to come and look for fish anymore. You get your own fish now.
And these are the principles of the unified integrative medicine that we are dealing here in Israel. And we are expanding this in everywhere now with the Arab countries, in Italy and Europe, and different languages. And I feel that this is a kind of bliss to live in this era where I see that they are open-minded and they are ready to receive this kind of consciousness, information that is different than the physical, the biomedical model that we have all the proofs that it's not functioning well. It's very good for emergency, very good for acute cases, but it's not good to prevent disease, and it's not good to deal with chronic disease. So this is my privilege, my honor to speak with you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Yes, I can feel the love. I can feel the love, the connection of the soul between me and you. And, it's just, I feel that this amplifies our essence, and we want to amplify this light. And I can finish with one sentence saying that love is the way, and happiness is our sign that we are in the right way, and light is the real purpose of our life. We came from the light and we will return to the light.
Right. And when I was with you and I saw the light come from you, I said, I'm now talking to what they say, kindred spirit, a spirit of connection, because both of us started in the conventional world of medicine, and both of us had said, wait, this is not the resolution. This is not going to work this way. And both of us have taken a new track in life. And the beautiful part is now both of us have people following because they want what you have. That's what I said. When I first talked to people about, oh, you create a life, and they looked at me and they go, but your life's not so good, so why should I listen to you? And then I realized, oh, I have to take the consciousness and bring it into my reality and use it, not just have data, but to use it. And then when I started using it, my life changed. Now they come and say, I want what you have. And the same for you. I want what you have. And so for me, it's an honor to find another spirit who walked the same path we started on.
Yeah.
And then both of us went off on the new path, the path of self-empowerment, the path of creativity, the path of spiritual recognition. And the more people that we can touch, the more people we can help, the planet will change, because the only way out is to recognize what you and I have been teaching for years and years. And so that's why I have so much joy to share this screen with you.
Thank
because
you so much.
It was no accident that we are here.
Yes, absolutely.
No accident.
We have a very important mission to expand the light, and this is our mission. Thank you very much. I love you so much.
I am so honored to be with you, and I so support what you are doing, because I know that your pathway is healing, and this is what the world needs at this time. So working together with you is a great joy for me. Thank you for sharing your time with me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. I hope this information can help people in your community and people in my community to recognize the same story applies to the whole world.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I so appreciate you. Thank you so much.
See you soon. Bye-bye.